3 shootings. I've been involved in, I had an explosive blow up under my bike at one point. Dave Crawford, who was killed, worked for me for 8 years, so I was directly involved in that. I've been involved in 3 shootings, and I mean, there's been dozens of other incident-related things. After that first shooting, I didn't experience any bad things, no PTSD, no bad dreams, no anything. It was, I processed it, I did what I needed to do. I mean, I looked back at the entire incident or anything I could have done differently or anything like that. No, there wasn't, and that was it. The negative side to me was our department at the time. If you were involved in a shooting, they kept you off the street until the investigation was done. And after that first incident, I was pulled off the street for 4.5 months on administrative duty, sitting around doing paperwork, and that was the worst part of that incident. Yeah, it was a regular midnight shift. It was, I don't know what happened during the shift. It was typical, and come about 7:20 something in the morning, and I'm just sitting there, and I have no idea what I was doing, proofreading reports or something, normal end of the shift thing. And then on our channel, which was different than that channel that it started developing on, we get the, I mean, out of the total silence units, we have a 1024, which is our department's emergency, drop everything and go. We have a 1024, we have officers down inside a house. That's like a knife through the heart. I mean, shots fired, officer down yeah, you're just gonna have a massive adrenaline dump, and you don't know what's going, it's just, I gotta get there. That's when you kind of go on autopilot. You're not really consciously thinking of what's going on. The incident itself involved a barricaded person in an attic, and it was an ambush situation. There was already an officer shot. There was one shot downstairs in the bathroom. There was another officer with them. We were hearing calls to, help me get us out of here. Things were very fresh. After that shootout, I told you about my previous shootout. No big deal. I mean, this one here was, I think the difference in some of the things that officers experience, if you could differentiate aftermath, probably a big factor is whether you're truly in peril or not. My first one, if I look back on it, yeah, the guy pointed a gun at me, but I was so prepared and so fast. I took that before. I mean, did I feel he was going to shoot me? Yes. I took care of it very rapidly. In the shootout in the house, there were bullets coming through the ceiling that I seen the bullet holes opening up as I'm shooting back. It was a urban warfare shootout within a house, and I shouldn't have walked out of that. I have no idea how I walked out of that. When you've got these things, not only you're involved in a shootout and things like that, where 2 officers did get killed, but why in the world did I walk out of the house? I probably shouldn't have. I don't know why I'm sitting here today. When you talk about aftermath of it, and initially following that incident, I mean, that's when I did have the classic textbook responses to things. And again, I reiterate, I was involved in a previous shooting. I've been involved in multiple pursuits. You name it, I've probably done it. I've broke half the bones in my, let's see, legs and arms, and I've torn things, and it's just part of doing the job. And this one here, it was probably different in the sense it was just, emotionally, it was just an overwhelming experience. Now, I experienced some of the things that, I had the bad dreams, I had the nightmares. I mean, up until, and I still to this day, depending on what's happening around me, or experience I do, I've had, I had the nightmares. I had couldn't sleep, wake up in cold sweats. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I did that initially. But they cleared us to come back to work within 3 days. That's probably a little too soon. What is right? 4.5 months on the first shooting, 3 days on the second shootout. What is right? Now, the answer is I don't have an answer for you, but I can tell you that given the totality of that situation, 3 days was probably too much. Yeah, after this, I mean, this shootout was such a huge event in St. Pete. I mean, it was, first of all, we hadn't had an officer killed in 30 years. Now we just lost 2 in one morning. It was broadcast all over, everything was live. There was live TV out there when eventually SWAT teams went in. Front end loader was used to bulldoze part of the house. I mean, there was a lot of things that happened there that had never happened before. So this was a huge, huge, huge event. And then in the aftermath, they're trying to figure out who did what, and they want to give awards and all that. So there were a few of us that got different awards. Initially, we got the department's Medal of Valor, and that was at a big ceremony they did 4 months later, and that was their first big award ceremony. You would think that I would say that shootout was the worst day of my life. That award ceremony day was probably the worst day of my life. I didn't want to go. I was coached into going. You have to do this. This is for the community. This is for the community. It's for the people. And in reality, we shouldn't be doing things like that for the community, for the people. I understand getting information out and doing this and all the honoring things, but it was, in my opinion, way too soon. There was way too many things going on, and that particular day was awful. Again, I'm still a supervisor on midnight shift. I'm doing my thing there, and Dave Crawford, who worked for me for 8 years, close friend of mine, shots fired, officer down. I probably made it there in a heartbeat and a half. I think I was probably the second or third person there, and yeah, he's down. I ripped his shirt open. He's got a bullet hole right in his chest, and so, here we go again. Watching your good friend shot to death is a critical incident. And it was just, does it matter if you were involved in a shooting? No. It's the same thing. You're going to have the same emotions, the same responses. There's nothing that says, there's no flow chart that says with a shooting you're going to experience this. With a car crash you're going to experience this. And when your partner gets shot and killed, you're going to experience this. Sorry, this doesn't work that way. They all group together. You may experience this, you may experience that, you may experience this, you may experience them all. You may experience none. And it's all normal. You just have to, how you process it, how you deal with it in the aftermath is what's important. I got educated. I was experiencing a lot of the things. I was still working. Things kind of changed and evolved too with what I was experiencing. Initially, yes, I didn't sleep well. I hardly slept at all. I was eating well. I'd have a lot of triggers. A lot of triggers were just wreaking havoc on different emotions I was having and all. But I was still doing my job. I was still working. That's what I do. Listen to yourself. Listen to yourself and acknowledge. It sounds so philosophical. It's really not. If I think that I'm having some issues and some problems, be willing to admit it, and just listen to yourself. If you think you need a break, you need a break. If you think you need to talk to somebody, you probably do. You need to listen to yourself, and don't be afraid of ramifications. Listen, man, we're all human. You are going to go through things, and if you asked me prior to that January 11th incident, I said, will you ever experience any PTSD or any bad stuff or any emotional stuff or any of the stuff I've talked about? I'd tell you, shoot, no. I've been through it once. You can go through it many times. It doesn't really matter. I'll be fine. And it's not.